So when we first get a residential project, the first and foremost important step which we do a discovery meeting. So discovery meeting is primarily about to understand what a client wants, is expecting from out of that house, and what is that they live, who are the people who live in that family, what are the kind of role they would play in this, how do they want to actually use the space is also very important to understand. So we understand the requirements are being mapped with the client, so we jointly map requirements in terms of where what has to be provided, what are the client requirements, what are the expectations out of the project. And so when we do a complete analysis of requirements and we understand the client, it's not just about how many rooms they need, it's all about what kind of people they are, what do they like in life, what do they do in life, what are the kind of way they would socialize. So when we get to the site, we actually get to understand what kind of surroundings are there in terms of how many neighbors, what kind of neighbors, what is the quality of construction, what kind of professions they are into. For example, we did a project where we actually had the next door neighbor was an army person, and with all due respect, like they would be having a certain kind of lifestyle which is different from our client. So to understand those particular nitty-gritties is also important to us to create what is something which is timeless for our clients. And also in terms of what is the sound level of that particular locality, how many trees are available in the around vicinity of around half kilometer, what are the possibilities of how many trees, parks are available. So all those things we map and we create a kind of a model where we understand the client's requirements. And the other thing is about when we talk about their preferences with respect to Vastu, are they inclined into Vastu, are they not inclined into Vastu, and even inside Vastu there are different kind of variations of schools of thoughts where each client actually collectively chooses and adapts to what kind of preferences they need. So we prepare a separate document about the preferences. Do they actually have a consultant? They don't have a consultant? What is the school of thought they are inclined into? Then we create a brief around that particular importance of having things around Vastu. Other thing is about when we start the planning. Based on all this information, we start the planning. Because we have a lot of information from the client, which is like a detailed report of requirements or wish list, many a times it is also possible that all that information might not naturally flow into the site. So we actually work out an option where we consider the client requirements as primary in one option. In one option where we consider understanding the client's requirement, what is that the site can offer us, which comes from as a second option, and the third option where we can balance both of them. So these three different options actually form three different kind of perspectives where we can give you insights about different directions, which gives you a 360-degree view of around entire perspective of the plan. And each of them we present to the clients, and once we present, usually all the first meetings we do it on a one-to-one meeting or a Zoom meeting, or where we can actually run them through the plans. And once we during the plans we get a lot of feedback from the clients in terms of because that is where the critical point of expectation setting happens. Because yes, I wanted 100 things in my home, but I can only fit in few certain things. I cannot, if I have all the 100 things, then I'm not justifying for the sizes and the flow of the space. That's when client understand that what things are important to them and what things are less important to them. So these expectation setting actually helps us to clarify or to further navigate and filter out the requirements, which is a very crucial part, which leads us to the second meeting where we refine and redefine a lot of other things than when we come closer to the requirement of it. And probably once, if the requirements are not changing, in 1 to 2 iterations, we actually finalize the plans. And once the plans are finalized, the next step is that we get to the elevations part of it. So because the plans are finalized to an extent, like let's say 85-90%, we want to give a new perspective to the elevations in terms of how the clients would want to see their houses, what kind of preferences they have. And once we have those kind of preferences, once we create an external experience as well as the plans, we always also modulate the plans a bit to get to the elevations what we want. And the entire process, when we present the elevations, it's also in the similar stages of presenting 3 different kind of options. And once they choose certain options or try to mix certain options, probably in 1-2 iterations, we completely define the elevations and completely define define the plans where they are integrated both as well as vastu, as well as efficiency, as per as the budgets that the client has discussed with us, and all those parameters gets into it, which forms as the conceptual design of the project.